I'm filming in front of a mirror today because this week's topic is perfectionism. Perfectionism sucks. It's this evil demon that the media and mainstream culture and maybe your childhood background, it's this evil demon that sabotages you. And you might not even know this little evil demon is sabotaging you. So the other week, just this past Saturday at noon, I'm going to have another support group this Saturday at noon, but last Saturday at noon, really safe space, people were opening up, and what unfolded was a conversation about perfectionism. And this woman said something interesting, that every time she tries something around weight loss or health, she gets really excited, and then she doesn't stick with it. And so as we explored why she didn't stick with things, she quit things, she just lost her motivation, this little evil demon, I believe it's a little evil demon, of perfectionism, I could kind of see this little evil demon there, and I don't know if she was aware of it. So this little evil demon, sabotages this lady. One of the ways this little evil demon sabotages is because this woman would do some stuff, and she'd actually experience progress, right? Maybe she'd lose a pound or two or whatever, or she'd, exercise or eat healthy. But this little evil demon would say, "You're not good enough. You're not good enough. You suck. You're not good enough." And I bring this up, I'm holding this in front of the mirror because I know so many people who have told me that when they look in the mirror, they see, like, the words that come out of their mouth are just so hurtful. They don't see the truth. They see a distorted illusion. And what's tricky is that this distorted illusion, when they look in the mirror, they believe that's true. So, for example, you might look in the mirror and say, "God, you fat fucking slob. You're so ugly. Like, look at your arms and your chest and your hips. Ugh, you're so fat. Like, these curves are gross." But here's what I want you to do. This is what I'm holding this up in the mirror. Because there's a technique called mirror exposure therapy. It's part of acceptance and commitment therapy, especially when we're dealing with body dysmorphia. When we look in the mirror, we can write something down, but you just note factually what you are actually seeing. So you sometimes it's helpful to write it out, but you can also just look in the mirror, and you got to state it factually. So you might say, like, pink shirt or a vest or shoulders or hair or whatever. You state factually what you see. This is really, really important to shift your perspective, because that little evil monkey demon of perfectionism, that evil monkey demon is a distorted perception that's not true. It's not true. And by looking in the mirror and stating things factually, you're giving yourself a new perspective. I'm not saying you're not overweight. Maybe you're overweight, whatever. But there's a difference between obsessing about your image and then the obsessions running in your head all day long, causing you to feel shame, and then making you feel so bad that you never try to even change, or you give up, or even when you do try, it's never good enough, so then you quit, you don't stick with things long enough. So this simple exercise right here, is standing in the mirror, is going to help you face who you are in a more truthful manner, and really to help you realize, I brought this magazine in here, Cosmopolitan, because you see probably more women like this than you do actual, like, normal-sized women. What I mean by this is you could walk through a grocery store and see 100 images of this, or just check social media or whatever. You might see 100 women like this, or guys, whatever, buff dudes and all that. And you might only see like 5 or 6 or 20 like more normal-sized people. And what your brain does is it says, wow, like there's all these beautiful people. I gotta look beautiful too. But this is like airbrushed. Like there's very few people that actually look like this. And even the ones that do, we all know that magazines and stuff, they airbrush, they color the hair, they trim the fat, the cheeks and everything. So basically your standards are too high, and especially when we're dealing with body image stuff and perfectionism. The other day at the meeting, someone said they wanted to go walking more, but their problem was they had to walk their dog every day. And when their dog was walking every day, the dog would like piss and poop and pause for a while, and the walking wouldn't get done. And you know, our group was able to kindly support this person and say, you know, you're out on a walk, like you're walking your dog, you're outside, you know, like give yourself some credit. Your perfectionism of having to walk a long time, doing it perfectly, is what's preventing you from seeing the fact that you're outside, you're walking, you're with your dog, you're doing a good thing. Your standards are too high. Likewise, when you look in the mirror, when you think about your body image or whatever, your standards might be too high, and you might not even know they're too high. That's why perfectionism is such an evil little tricky demon, because you don't realize that you're setting yourself up. So go in the mirror and state things factually. Like fat is actually not a fact, by the way. Like there are other cultures who value fat. It's not a bad thing. So when you say fat, like judgment, it's not a fact. You know, the Ethiopian cultures or some other African culture, they actually value fat. It's seen as a sign of beauty. So the tone, the way you would say fat would be like, oh, fat, I'm so fat, I'm so, you know, I'm so beautiful and fat. And so when you look in the mirror, I want you to just say things factually, but like the tone of voice is like, you know, I look this way, my hips are this big, whatever, you know, I'm wearing this type of clothing, and really be careful. You know, what's going to happen is you might look in the mirror and you might automatically think, you fat piece of shit. You might start criticizing your image, and just be aware of that, because these thoughts they're there. We aren't just going to pretend these thoughts aren't there, but just noticing that these thoughts are distorted perceptions of reality can help you see the truth, that you're where you are right now. There's nothing wrong with that. And by taking that tone of voice, the factual thing, and giving yourself credit for little actions, you can start taking a more grounded and practical approach to managing your health. And just an example of this, I fall for perfectionism all the time. For a long time, I wasn't eating vegetables except for my little NutriBullet. If you've followed me any length of time, you know that I love NutriBullets. I put spinach and carrots and bananas and fruit, and those are where I get my veggies. But for a long time, I really wanted to get more veggies into my diet. And I had this idea in my head that I had to cook all these vegetables, like, you know, put them in the oven and get tin foil and all that stuff. And that high standard prevented me from trying to eat more vegetables. And it all changed when I met someone who bought store-bought vegetables, those little $5 bags where they come pre-cut and everything, and a healthy assortment of vegetables, and then they just cooked them. And so now I do that. I've lowered my standard, but I'm taking practical action by buying $5 vegetable bags and just cooking those. It takes me a couple minutes before dinner, and now I'm getting my NutriBullet and my veggies. So, you know, having a too high of a standard sabotaged me for a long time, and I didn't even know my standards were too high. It was a well-intentioned belief. That's why this perfectionism thing is so tricky, because like you might have a good intention to lose weight, and you're saying, wow, I gotta be skinnier, like I care for myself, I want to be skinnier, but just too high of a standard, even if it's well-intentioned, will just set you up for failure, and your internal compass will not even try, because it knows it's impossible. So set your bar lower, do things that make you feel good, look at yourself in the mirror and state where you are factually. And watch your tone of voice. When perfectionistic thoughts creep in, it's okay. Just, you know, they're going to come. So just be aware that they're going to come. Okay. That's enough for today. The support group is going to continue on next Saturday. You can find information at meetup groups or on the website. Feel free to just direct message me. That's what I got. You can get on the email list, weightlossenlightenment.com. All right. Peace.